Welcome to our series of Phoenix how-tos. In this session, we're going to actually do a simple tax return. So first off, I start off on the Prepare dashboard and I key in the customer's Social Security number. Now, if he was already in the system, it would pull up his information. He's not. We're going to do it in 2018, so I'm going to click Next. I'm going to key in his first name. And we like to type in caps. I know you're told don't type in caps unless you're screaming, but as far as our software goes, we do like you to type in caps. Confirming his Social Security number. So now I am creating a tax return. You can see down here that I have other options also. If all I want to do is create an amendment, it's a walk-in amendment, I would click on this. If all I want to do is create an extension, again, just click on the extension button. But in this case, I want to create a tax return. If I wanted to mark this as a secure return, I could click this button right here and it would make it secure, meaning only people with the rights in the system, and that would be a business entity person, can get into this tax return. So we're going to create the tax return. And it brings up the information in the forms navigation. Now, if you are an experienced preparer, you may want to use the forms navigation, but you can also use the interview mode. So I'm going to switch over to interview just so everybody can see how simple it is. Put in his birthday, his occupation, his email address, now, when you ask for their email address, be sure you ask if it's okay for us to send them any kind of promotional emails or tax information. It's very important that you ask that because we are not allowed to send things unless we have their expressed consent. So now I'm going to put in his phone number. And most people go with just the cells these days, but if they have an alternate phone number, please get that also, maybe a work number or, their parents' number, whatever. And you also want to ask, is it okay if you can text them? Most people say they'd rather be texted than called. So again, you have to answer these questions, ask and answer these questions. Now it wants to know his address. And generally, when you key in the zip code, it will populate the city. And in this case, we're in Iowa. So next will take me to the next screen, and it wants me to verify his date of birth. It's the same double verifying like we've always had to do. So now we've verified his date of birth. Can he be claimed? Does he have a PIN from the IRS? If this was a return for a deceased taxpayer, or they're blind or disabled, this is where you would check. In this case, the gentleman is not any of those. You want to make sure where he lived at the end of the year. So we're going to say he lived in Iowa. Now, if he was a resident of more than one state, you could click this and it will give you the option of adding another state. Now, those of you who live like in a border state, things like that, there might be an option there for you. I mean, you might need this information, but at this point, he's good. He only lives in Iowa. Did he make any money outside the state he was a resident of? So maybe if you're on a border, they work in one state and live in the other. That comes up a lot in our area because we're in Virginia, but we're very near North Carolina. So luckily this gentleman didn't do any of that. Now, what type of ID does he have? Now you'll notice we have driver's license, state issued ID, doesn't have either, did not provide. So if they don't have an ID, that's fine. It doesn't have to be put into the system, but they cannot get a financial product without an ID. Just remember that. And it's a current valid ID. And let's see, when did he get that ID? Well, that would make it expired, so let's go with that. And maybe their ID has no expiration date. Is he single, married, divorced? What's his filing status going to be? So what's his situation? He is single. Does he support anybody else? Nope, nobody else. Lucky, really easy return here. Do we want to take single as his filing status? He really has no other choices, so yes, of course we want to take single. Now you can go ahead and review the information here. If you need to make any changes, you just click on edit. It'll take you to where you need to go, and you can go ahead and make whatever changes need to be done. So now we're going to ask those important tax questions. Did he itemize last year? Did he have college expense? Did he sell a house? Was he in a presidentially declared disaster area? Let's hope not. Did he claim the first-time home buyer's credit? Luckily, we didn't have anything to put there. And again, it's going to give us information about where we are. Now, we're going to add a W-2 form. So click on Add, W-2 manually. And if they did not receive their W-2 on time, then you can put the information in and you'll be filing the substitute W-2. But in this case, the man's got his W-2. He's making it really easy for me. Employer's name. And this is not any different than any other software. And again, when you put in the zip code, it should populate city and state. And he made $35,000. And everything is the same in box 3, 1, 3, and 5, so I'm going to go ahead and check that. He does have insurance, so we're going to put that information in box 12. Doesn't have retirement, doesn't have any state on here, so I'm not going to have to enter anything else on this W-2 form. I'm going to click Next. And of course, I'm going to verify the information from the W-2. The EIN for his employer, the gross wages, and the amount of income tax he paid. Once I'm through with that, wants to know, do I want to add another W-2? Do I need to review it? Do I need to delete it? I have different options on this screen, but I don't need to do any of that, so I'm going to go ahead and click Next. And now it's going to tell you that he made $35,000. If you had any other information about income, this is where you would put it in. You can see it's all nicely listed out, and all you have to do is click on Add. In his case, very simple, just one W-2 form. So we're going to click Next, and now it asks, does he pay alimony? You know, any of the deductions from the income. He has nothing in this case either. Now, it's asking about, do we want to itemize? He doesn't have anything to itemize, so we're just going to say Next. And he's going to take the standard deduction. Do we recommend that? Yes, because again, he's a single man. He can't itemize, so standard deduction is the way he will go. Now, it's going to ask you about different credits, whether he should get them or not. And if you need to put information in, this is where you would do that. But in his case, we're good to go. So now, is everybody listed on the return? Do they have insurance? Yes, they do. Did they get it from the marketplace? Do they have a 1095-A? The answer in this case is no, because he got it through his employer. Again, it's going to ask you different information here. You can tell it anything that, if you put estimated payments or you paid with an extension, any of these questions, you're going to answer those here. Now, at any time during this, you can go over to the forms, and it'll take you right back to the same place that you were in with the interview. We're just looking over everything on the 1040 now. We've got it all in there. Looks like my guy's going to get about $1,500 back. Great. So if I'm in the forms, I can go to filing options, and it's going to ask me, how does he want to file this? We're going to say e-file, because at this point, of course, we can't really file the return. The 1040 hasn't even been released by the IRS yet, but we're going to say e-file, next. And do I have a discount form? Any promotions? Send a friend? Nope, not in this case. And now this gives you the breakdown that you can go over with the customer. Tells you all about what he did and what he's getting back, what he paid in. And if you would like to preview the form, any forms that are with this tax return, in this case, I'm going to say next. Did he want a financial product? If they're not getting a financial product, they do not have to sign the 7216 use and disclosure forms. But a lot of times, I just have every customer sign them just as part of my routine when I talk to a customer. But if they're not doing a financial product, they do not have to sign these forms. So can't do one because they did not sign the 7216s. Tells us right there. So how does he want to send his money to him? I'm going to say mail check just so I don't have to put in the direct deposit information. But if you said direct deposit, it would go to this screen where you have to put in all the information. But in this case, we're going to go with mail check. You're going to verify that the address is correct and the check amount. And again, it gives you some information here. If you need to change any of this, say he's decided he does want to do a financial product, you could click here and go back into that part. I'm going to go back to next. And now, how's he paying for this tax return? So his fees are $143.06. So I'm going to add payment. And this gentleman is going to pay me in cash. Going to make it easy on me. $143.06. If you need to put any notes in, you want to add payment, there you go. He's all paid. And I have confirmed that it's all good to go, and I want it sent to the cash box. Here's the receipt. You would print it if you're keeping that with your cash box information. Maybe attach the payment to it, put in the cash in the physical cash box, not the cash box on ZNet. And now it says he's paid, no amount due. And up here you can see I do have one little error. So it tells me that I haven't addressed the state. So I have to go in, and in this case he does not have any state. So I'm going to click no, we do not wish to file state. That should take care of it. We'll click next. And now it tells us that he's e-filing. It's taking us back a little bit. We'll say next. And at this point you can do a final review with the customer, just to go over the basic information with them. No errors associated with this return, so it is good to e-file. Now at this point, it's considered ready to file, but ready to file means that it's ready to be back to the processor. Now here's the signatures we're going to sign. And of course, if you've already signed once as a tax preparer, your information is going to be in there, so my signature is already complete. So now I'm going to say sign for him. And I'm going to mark that I acknowledge that all signatures have been printed and provided by the taxpayer. Oh, forgot this step, sorry. You need to view and make sure it's all good to go. It's going to show you all of this. We'll look it over. You can go over everything with the customer again at this point. We're going to click close, and now we'll say next. And now it's in the ready to file category. Now again, ready to file means that it's ready to go back to processing, so the processing person can double check the tax return and they can actually transmit it out to the IRS. The tax preparer themselves do not do this. This is a processor role, either a processor, a manager, a business entity owner, that kind of situation. That's how you do a tax return in Phoenix. Thank you for watching.